Hey guys, it's Got Bars here, the self-proclaimed hip-hop historian, and this is the 336th episode of my series, where I grab a vinyl from my collection, talk about why I love it, what influence it has, and what its place is in the grand scheme of hip-hop. So this is the first instrumental project I've covered in a pretty good while now. In fact, not only is it the first one I've had in this set of 2000s classics, but I don't believe I had any in the previous group for 2010's LPs either. I'm pretty sure the last time I discussed an instrumental album of this nature would be in my most recent set of favorites from the 90s, when I touched on Company Flow's second and final album, 1999's Little Johnny from the Hospital, Breaks and Instrumentals Volume 1, and coincidentally, LP of Co-Flow has a very direct connection to the LP we're discussing today. And coincidentally, LP of Company Flow had a very direct connection to the artist and LP we're covering today, as producer RJD2 released his 2002 debut full-length Deadringer here through LP's Definitive Jux label. This was just the tip of the iceberg when it came to RJD2's involvement in Def Jux though, as he famously has been extremely prolific through his remix discography alone, with countless examples of transforming a known hip-hop track into something new, completely unrecognizable, and often even better than the original. Just some of the classic albums where he contributed instrumentals and/or remixes include Cannibal Ox's The Cold Vein, Page's Movies for the Blind, The End of the Beginning by Murs, and Vaudeville Villain by Victor Vaughn. And that's hardly making a dent in his production credits, not to mention his personal solo output, through which he's managed to build up a rich discography of beat tapes, and instrumental projects. While Deadringer here would act as his first official studio LP, RJD2 had already been active in the underground prior to that point, dropping numerous little EPs and mixtapes, like 2000's Prior Convictions with Papa Hop, which they released as The Dirty Birds, or 2001's Your Face or Your Kneecaps. But it was his full-length debut here that really saw the veteran beginning to embark on this killer run of projects, which for me starts with Deadringer, then continues on to 2003's The Horror, 2004's Since We Last Spoke, and 2006's Magnificent City with AC Alone. And there's been at least a dozen other releases since then, with which this dude has continued to push the boundaries of sample treatment and creative production. In fact, he even dropped a killer instrumental album last year that I mentioned in my top 50 hip-hop albums of 2024 video, titled Visions Out of Limelight, so you know he's still going strong to this day. He may be a master of creating atmospheres, which is a shared quality across all of his best work, but I think his most dense, fleshed out, and memorable project is Deadringer here, and the aesthetic RJD2 specifically crafts for this experience makes you feel like you are listening to the soundtrack of a thriller movie that's just packed with action and suspense. The very first beat makes you feel like you're traveling through a wormhole with sections that rise and fall in a way that keeps the composition interesting, yet no matter how cinematic and diverse the instrumentals get on this thing, there's still always that baseline appreciation for boom bap and b-boy culture, which keeps the album firmly rooted in hip-hop and frees the producer up to play with more unorthodox genres like folk. Despite the vast majority of this LP being instrumentals, there actually are a few guest appearances who deliver features, and while I'll get into those names more specifically a bit later in this video, I do want to share one of their verses, which RJD2 smartly implemented to kind of spice the tracklist up. This comes in the form of the MC Blueprint, who pops up on the song Final Frontier, where he kicks off his killer verse rapping, "We breathe adrenaline, elevate organically. Life begins when the record spins and ends, when blended into the next with scratches. RJ constructs the canvas, I find a color that matches, outline the rhyme and increase the content. blueprint the piece that completes the concepts. Sequence the song steps to make it more complex. Soul position in, soul possession of. Pole position, hold your breath and listen. While I resurrect these 26 letters, a lesson to beginners that tend to pale in comparison. You're not ill, and if you are, my notepad's full of medicine. Plus my freestyle is eccentric. Take 2 hours and call me back with a new style, and show me you're prepared for the final frontier. His second verse is just as dope, and he actually starts it off with the same opening line as the first, rapping, "We breathe adrenaline, elevate organically. My pen like a turntale arm moves mechanically. Even when the groove shifts or skips dramatically, I accurately etch out my wielded fine fantasy. Across a skyline covered with sound, I move into position like a cumulus cloud. Acid rain slaying still a part of my emosis. My first demo known to soak instrumentals, with brainstorms capable to break in the calm created by strange tongues that praise the norm. But while they make a living giving false testimony, I often impress the ceremony with an exercise in exorcism. First I ride the rhythm, then I spit a venomous open mic sermon for the trite vermin that had a hard time learning how to properly prepare for the final frontier." As I alluded to earlier, Blueprint isn't the only guest appearance to contribute a verse to Deadringer, because we also get features from the likes of Copyright and Jackie the Motormouth. However, that's about it in terms of outside influence, considering RJ handled all of the production here completely himself. When it comes to my 3 favorite tracks for this one, I think I would probably have to go with The Horror, Ghostwriter, and Shot in the Dark. As for honorable mentions, I'll leave out Final Frontier since I focused on that one specifically already, and instead recommend songs like Cutout to FL, June, Chicken Bone Circuit, Two More Dead, Silver Fox, Work, Fine Planetarium, The Proxy, and Before or Since. Thank you for watching my 336th video. Next time we are returning to one of hip-hop's most iconic trios who's been featured on the page many times at this point. So look out for that one, and if you enjoyed, be sure to like, subscribe, and let me know what instrumentals resonated with you the most from this cinematic experience. Don't forget to have a great day, and I'll see you next time, okay? Alright.